I recently picked up a couple of similarly priced Pro Audio amps to drive subs in my house and in the shop. They are both supposedly 3,000 watts peak, which peak ratings are bullshit if you ever looked at power amps. Here are the specifications for the Gemini GPA3500, which does not include any RMS power output. Does claim 0.1% total harmonic distortion, but that's not really helpful without telling you what power that's at. It's very hard to find the RMS power rating online, or impossible. Here are the Rockville RPA9 specifications. Note that they do provide a much lower distortion node, although it's only at one frequency, which is typical, and 800 watt RMS at 8 ohm mono. All right, here are the guts of the Gemini GPA3500. We've got a transformer that's rated at 39 volts. We've got a rectifier to turn that 39 volt AC into a positive and negative 39 volt DC rail. That rectifier is rated for 15 amps to average, 200 amp peak with a 1.1 volt voltage drop. It's a JBG 1510. And then we have an NPN and a PNP transistor per channel for output. And those are TTC 5200s, TTA 1943s. They're rated at 150 watts each, 15 amps each. By contrast, here are the guts of the Rockville RPA9. We have a transformer that's rated for 53 volts. Our rectifier is here instead of on the heatsink. It's rated for 25 amps, 350 amp peak. It's a JBG 2510 CE. And then instead of one transistor per NPN and PNP per output channel, we have two PNP, two NPN output transistors. Those have different markings on them, but also have the same numbers as the other amp. And so instead of a single 5200 and 1943 per channel, there are two 5200s and 1943s per channel, assuming that they have the same ratings. Listening to the two side by side verifies the breakdown here. The RPA9 is a much more powerful amplifier, even just based on the maximum theoretical power that could be provided. One has a 38 volt or whatever rated transformer, and the other 53, and that relates to a maximum with no voltage drop or losses or anything, something like a 720 watts at 8 ohms versus 1350 watts at 8 ohms. And it's not clear, it doesn't look that clear in the video, but that is a much larger transformer in that Rockville. And double the output power transistors and a much larger rectifier. Definitely the way to go for the $10 extra or whatever is definitely this Rockville RPA9. And all of that doesn't mention the fact I don't know what they're doing with thermal control here. Like, why do they need a fan at the front and the back of the heatsink? And it is god awful loud. Like, god awful loud. I mean, maybe not bad in a PA environment, but in any other environment, versus the Rockville is much, much quieter. I don't know if you can actually hear it on the video, but it's almost silent, which is pretty funny since the Gemini calls out in its specifications something about variable speed fans for low noise. Sure as hell doesn't sound like it, guys. I don't think the Rockville said anything, but it might. I don't remember.